Welcome to another Macintosh Monday. I'm Mike, and of course, I am back to talk about the Apple news. And this week, I feel like it's a little bit juicy. We got some iPhone rumors, something confirmed, and another rumor that got changed. So we're going to hop into all of it. Let's start first with the latest iPhone 15 Pro rumor because, yes, despite the iPhone 14 Pro only being a month old, we already got plenty of rumors about the new iPhone. This next rumor kind of makes sense if they do this, but I'm kind of worried if they do this at the same time. The rumor is with the iPhone 15 Pro, they're going to introduce haptic buttons for the sleep and volume buttons. So if you think about like the iPhone 7 and 8 that had the home button and it wasn't an actual button, it used haptics. It worked fine. But the concern for me is it going to work in a troubleshooting situation where you need to do a hard reset? Maybe your phone is not responding at all. I don't really remember having much of an issue with it with the 7, but again, there was only one solid state button at the time, not everything being solid state. So if this is true, then I'll be interested to see how Apple pulls it off. I'm also worried about case compatibility. I feel like there's pretty much going to be two options. Like either that part of the case is going to have to be open or they're going to have something that's able to trigger that button when it's pressed. So it's not going to be a real button anymore. So those are my biggest concerns about it. This leak is from Apple analyst Ming Chi Kuo, and he's usually pretty accurate as far as the leaks. He's another one like Mark Gurman, one of these known Apple leakers, so there's a good chance that this might be true. There is a second part of the rumor that's actually partially confirmed. We're going to talk about in our next story. So along with these new solid state buttons, the iPhone 15 Pro could be switching to USB-C next year, and Apple has already confirmed that the iPhone will be switching to USB-C to comply with the new European regulations, which basically says by the end of 2024, all phones sold in the EU have to use USB-C for charging. Apple Senior Vice President Greg Joshua, I hope I said that right, I probably didn't say it right, I never say things right, but he already confirmed that yes, they are going to comply with European laws, and they are switching the phones over to USB-C. There's a part of me that's been like, yes, for years, I've said Apple should switch the iPhone to USB-C, but overall I don't think that this is a good change. From a technological standpoint right now, definitely it's a good change because Lightning is slow. Lightning was great for its day, but it is slow for data transfer speeds, and now we're recording these big video files on the iPhones. I mean, I record all of these videos on this channel on the iPhone. I record this in cinematic mode, and that does take a lot of processing, and it is a few gigs. It takes a little while to transfer. So having USB-C and having faster transfer speeds like the iPad does would be a great benefit. It will also, of course, allow them to do even faster charging like we've seen with some of these Android phones. So that part of it is good, but I'm looking down the line where we get to the point where maybe USB-C isn't the best option anymore. Maybe a company develops something that's better than USB-C, and we're stuck on USB-C now because of this regulation. Also, I don't feel like this is as much of an issue anymore. It seems like over time most Android phones have moved to USB-C. The iPhone stuck on Lightning, but also it supports Qi wireless charging, which is a standard that pretty much every phone that uses wireless charging has. So really, from a charging standpoint, if you just buy a wireless charger, you can pretty much use it with any phone that supports wireless charging, which at this point is most phones. I mean, there are some lower end phones that don't support wireless charging, but also there's some lower end phones that don't use USB-C. There are still some that are on micro USB, so those will also have to change as well. I feel like when they probably started this process, the charging thing was a bigger issue than what it is now. And the fact that the other side of the Lightning cable is USB-C as well, again, not as big of an issue as it once was. I think the iPhone should move to USB-C, but I just don't think that a governing body should regulate what kind of connector a phone could have, because there are a lot more things that come with the connector other than the shape of the connector and what kind of cable can plug into it. For instance, I have this cable right here. This is a USB-C extension cable that I bought for one of my mini computers because the dock connector wouldn't fit. So this is just female USB to male USB-C. But you wouldn't know it from looking at it, but this cable is not fully reversible. So one side charges the device only, the other side gives you things like charging along with HDMI, etc., the other stuff that you can do with USB-C, like connecting to displays. So when I connect this to my dock, I have to make sure that I'm plugging it in the correct way or it doesn't work. USB-C cables and connectors are not all the same. For instance, if I take my Nintendo Switch charger and I plug it into one of my other PCs, it doesn't charge it at all because there's not enough wattage. Also, some of the cables are just wired different, kind of like that cable I just showed you. So there's a lot more to fixing this issue than just saying like we should all use the same connector. For instance, this iPad has Thunderbolt. You can't use Thunderbolt unless you have a Thunderbolt cable because it has to be fast enough to support the 40 gigabits or the rated speed for Thunderbolt. And if you're trying to connect the Thunderbolt device with a regular USB-C cable, it's not going to work right, even though it's the same physical connector. So there's just a lot more that goes into it than just saying like everything should use the same connector. And Apple could very easily just say like, hey, this USB-C cable has to have this chip to work with the iPhone or the iPhone won't read it, and then we're really pretty much in the same boat. It will have a connector that looks the same, but like if you bring your Samsung charger, it might not work with the iPhone. I don't think this regulation is really fixing the issue, and I think it's too little too late. I think Apple probably would have moved to USB-C eventually either way, but I don't like the idea of being stuck on a single charger and then it's just going to take years to get off of it when something better comes along. With that rant out of the way, Apple hasn't confirmed if they're only going to do USB-C in the EU or if it is going to be a worldwide thing. I'm assuming it'll probably be worldwide. But yeah, USB-C is coming for the iPhone, whether you like it or not. And if you like the idea of Apple dropping some new Macs this year, well, it ain't looking too good. So in our final story, it was originally rumored that we would see a new Mac Mini and new MacBook Pros this year. But Mark Gurman has reported that apparently Apple has decided to pivot and move all the new Mac releases to 2023. So now the updated rumor is we're going to see the 16 and 14-inch MacBook Pros in Q1 of next year. But the rumor doesn't address the Mac Mini or if they're going to announce the Mac Pro along with that. But the rumor is they're going to announce the chip for the Mac Pro. The M2 Ultra and the Extreme, those are probably going to be the processors for the Mac Pro. So I am expecting to probably see those updated 14 and 16-inch models. The chips I'm not sure about. And the Mac Mini, of course, we don't have any word on either. But that's what's going on. So apparently we're not getting any new Macs this year. So if you're waiting on those updated models, you're going to be waiting until next year, apparently. But I'm not waiting until next year to get out of here because that's going to do it for today's news video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to slap a like on it. And you have a great rest of your day. Happy Halloween. Peace out.